Hello, everybody. Welcome to Joe the Lawyer. Today, I want to talk about the decision of a United Kingdom judge to not extradite Julian Assange, the founder of WikiLeaks, to the United States. Why was this decision made and what does it mean? Thank you for tuning in. I'm Joe Pometto, Joe the Lawyer, a practicing attorney here in Pittsburgh, PA. I cover the news, and legal topics. If you like my content, please like, subscribe, comment, and share. It's a free way to support this completely free show. It lets YouTube know that you are watching and they in turn reward me. Please give me a subscription. I'm trying to get to 1,000. Okay, so who is Julian Assange? I'm not going to get into too many details, but he's the founder of WikiLeaks, a sort of hacker, shadowy organization that's been around since the 2000s. And what they do or appear to do is they gather information, leaks, confidential documents from governments and associations all over the world, and then they publish these things onto the internet. Back in 2010, Julian Assange first got into legal trouble. He was in England, but he was accused of sexual assault charges in Sweden. When those charges came up, Sweden wanted to extradite him to Sweden. He went and he sought refuge in the Ecuador embassy in London. The Ecuadorian government gave Julian Assange asylum, and he lived in this embassy for the last 10, 11 years or so. During that time period, documents were released, confidential information and documents about the United States were released by WikiLeaks, allegedly at the direction of Julian Assange. This information had United States government confidential documents, military documents, all right, that were meant to be secret, were released to the entire world. They showed cables and communications between diplomats for the United States and foreign countries. So a couple of years ago, the United States brought charges against Julian Assange. My understanding is that these charges include espionage and the violation of several other United States laws. And if he was convicted of these, he could face life in prison. So he's been hiding out in this Ecuadorian embassy. But then about a year or so ago, Ecuador ceased giving him asylum, and he was arrested by United Kingdom authorities and held in United States or in a United Kingdom jail. Since that time, since he was transferred to United Kingdom jurisdiction and was being held in jail, the United States government has been following the legal process in the UK to extradite him to the United States. I also believe that during that time frame, Sweden actually dropped the case against him. So that was the original reason he was hiding out in the embassy, but then he got charges from the United States and said, whew, I better stay here. So recently, Assange had an extradition hearing between a United Kingdom judge. And one of the arguments that his attorney put forward was that Mr. Assange was suicidal and that United States jails would be too oppressive. Therefore, they could not extradite him to the United States because there was a reasonable probability that he could kill himself or end up dead or end up mistreated in a United States jail or prison. I believe one of the more provocative arguments was that if he's transferred to a United States prison, he could face solitary confinement, and then that is essentially cruel and unusual punishment. And this judge found such an argument persuasive. Now, I do believe they wanted Julian Assange's attorneys wanted him to be released completely on bond. They wanted him to be released into the United Kingdom so he could spend time with his wife and their family while the court system played out. However, the judge did refuse to release him outright, citing him as being a potential threat to flee. And it's hard to argue with that, considering that Mr. Assange is facing more or less life in prison if he goes to a United States jail. Now, he is an Australian national. The judge in the UK was District Judge Vanessa Bareitzer, who decided not to extradite him. So her reasons were that this man is suicidal and that if he goes to the United States, he will kill himself, and also that United States jails are oppressive. Here's the thing about the United States. It's a huge country. It's a huge country. We've got 50 states, okay? We have a federal prison, a state prison system. I'm not a big fan of solitary confinement, okay? I believe that it should only be used in the most extreme circumstances because there are many studies that show such isolation does have a deep impact on a person's mental health. And the type of impact that could be lasting, it can cause PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. That type of confinement is very damaging. I understand where the attorneys and the courts are coming from there. I don't believe so. I think solitary confinement should be relegated to only the most extreme and necessary cases. Now, the argument on top of that is that he is suicidal. Therefore, if they send him to the United States, he will kill himself. Now, I don't know all the evidence that was admitted at this hearing, whether there were experts and doctors. Here's the thing. Anybody who is facing extradition, right, unless maybe the sentence they're going to get is a short sentence, but anybody who's facing extradition to the United States or any other country can come before the judge and say that they are suicidal in order to avoid the extradition. That's possible. So I hope that if the judge made this decision based on the fact that there are suicidal tendencies, that it was also supported by expert testimony, doctors, trained professionals who evaluated and said that that is true. Otherwise, that suicide thing is just sort of a cop-out. I don't know. I feel like anybody could kind of use it. Anybody could say that they're suicidal in order to avoid extradition. I think what's really going on here is that the judge is using that as her stated reason, but perhaps she simply believes that that it will be too oppressive for him to go to the United States, or she believes that the amount of prison time that he is potentially facing is also too oppressive. So she's using her power, all right, to keep him in the United Kingdom in a way that she believes is how he should be dealt with. This is going to work its way up through the courts. I am just sort of speculating there, and after reading some articles, it's true other people, especially in the UK to the United States, the United States has been denied extradition based on suicidal thoughts and tendencies in the past. So the message out there, the message from this is pretty simple. If you're facing extradition, claim suicide. I don't know what else to say. That's probably a message. I'm not saying to do that. I did say it, okay? I'm not advocating that, but I am saying that's the message that is being sent by a decision like this. It's very, very interesting, and we'll have to keep our eyes on this because it's going to work its way up through a system of appeals. I don't know what the appeals courts are going to look at. But it's fascinating. Extradition, politics plays a role in it. All kinds of things play a role in extradition between two countries, what they're going to do to send one person here or one person there. It can be a clash of values, right? The United States may not extradite a political prisoner if they believe they send them to a country where the person will be put to death. So something similar here may be happening in the United Kingdom. And so it's very interesting, very fascinating to watch. I'm not a big fan of solitary confinement. I do think there's a wide range of prisons and jails in the United States. Some of the treatment that happens in prisons is downright inhumane, cruel, and unusual. But there are also prison conditions in the United States that are not like that at all. There are prisons that are, for lack of a better word, very posh, at least for that for being in a prison. So that's sort of a sweeping generalization. Oh, United States prison system is oppressive. Okay, there are oppressive parts of it, but there are other parts that aren't. I don't know exactly where Assange would be sent, but this is something to watch. Very fascinating. Another factor here is whether or not Julian Assange will be pardoned by the United States. And I thought for a while that Donald Trump would pardon him, but he released military secrets. Trump is very pro-military. He hasn't done it yet. I don't think it's going to happen. And there's also talk that Joe Biden, the Biden administration, may change their stance on Assange. I doubt that's going to happen as well, because the secrets that Assange released also affected, I believe, the DNC, the Democratic National Committee. So Republicans, Democrats, conservative liberals in the United States, nobody's a fan of him. I seriously doubt that Joe Biden will change the stance on prosecution and or pardon Julian Assange. And, if the United States government wanted to give him some sort of leniency treatment, well, first he would have to come to the United States and sort of roll that die. And he doesn't appear to want to roll that die. So I hope you found this interesting. Let's follow this story. If you like my content, like, subscribe, comment, and share. I'm Joe the lawyer. I'm here to cover legal news and the news in general. Give me a subscription, trying to get to 1,000. Thank you.